All right, this is Trash Talk 4. This is Mona. Mona, your name is Paloma, right?
Paloma.
Okay, but I know you as Mona. Mona here has gotten me a couple of jobs. I met her in Tarzana. Everything's a go, right? We're good?
Yeah.
Okay. So I met her at Tarzana. It's a rehabilitation center that I come to in the mornings. Before I usually start jobs and stuff like that, due to me getting out of jail, I wanted to take this deal where I have to do this program and whatnot. But met Mona here. She's gotten me a couple of jobs and stuff like that, and I've heard her story. Her story is crazy. Crazy all around. It's
Way around.
all around sad. This definitely isn't gonna be one of those like previous videos that I've made that Augie has hooked up. With all the funny little pictures and stunts and all that. I know she's a very funny person, and she takes everything that's happened to her and her kids. I mean, serious, but she, you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like,
That's a life experience.
yeah, and she takes it in a very like, she tries to keep her head up and stuff like that. But I definitely wanted to put her as a focal point on this episode, because man,
Be kind.
so Mona, where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in the San Fernando Valley.
San Fernando Valley. What area?
San Fernando.
Okay, oh, in San Fernando.
Mhm.
Okay, because I'm still trying to get used to the whole area of it. I know there's like a bunch of shit in San Fernando. But, all right, how'd you grow up? What was your upbringing like?
My upbringing? I grew up in two different households. I grew up with my family, and then I grew up in the neighborhood.
Okay. What neighborhood?
San Fernando.
Okay. Are you from San Fernando?
No.
No?
No.
You just kicked it?
Yeah, I just kicked it. I was
Okay.
never allowed to be in it because the guys that I grew up around treated me as their little sister.
Right.
They didn't want to see me fucking go down that road where all these fucking people were like fucking up and stuff.
Okay.
So I grew up with my original family, which was my mother, my father, my biologicals. Something happened around the age of 9, 10 years old. I ended up leaving their house. I ran away for like 2 years because my uncle pretty much was fondling us, me, and I took off. And when I went and I told this to my neighborhood dad, what was going on, he pretty much went and talked to my mom and was like, she ain't coming back here. As long as this piece of shit's at your house, she ain't coming back here. So I stayed at their house. I lived there. They brought me up. They showed me the streetwise stuff and things like that. So yeah, I grew up around the neighborhood, and pretty much I took that as an experience nowadays,
Mhm. All right. Real quick, let me. So, how old are you?
I'm 40 years old.
40 years old? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. You look way younger. Like a little girl. Tell everyone how tall you are.
I'm 4'6". I'm a super short person.
Show them your J's. Pull up your J's. They're like little kids size.
Size 3.
Oh my, really? Size
size
3?
three.
Oh my god.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
All right. So you had this experience with molestation, stuff like that. When did stuff started going south for you? As far as
So
when did the rebellious?
I want to say when I met my girlfriend. She's my girlfriend now again, but when I was 13, I fell for some girl that I was with from the age of 13 to the age of 16. And I pretty much didn't want to listen to my family because I knew what I wanted. I knew who I was back then, And my family took me away to Mexico for about 2 years. When I came back, they introduced me to the father of my children. I was with him in a domestic violence relationship for 10 years. I have 2 children with him. It was pretty much like physical abuse, mental, verbal, everything that comes in that little bundle.
How old were you when you met her?
My girlfriend?
Yeah.
I was 13.
13.
I was 13, yeah.
So that's when you started. Like, when did the drugs start kicking in?
Oh, drugs? I didn't do drugs till, I want to say after I had my first kid.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
a little,
I was,
I
I
won't
was,
say
I was,
late,
I
but
was, yeah, I was pretty late. I was like 21.
it's horrible. It's like,
Yeah, I was like 21, or I think it was after my son, so I was like 23 when I started doing drugs. I didn't do drugs for a long time.
Okay.
I did them for like 6 months because I really never liked it, but I was always an alcoholic.
okay.
You know, alcohol started really young for me. It started around, I want to say 10, 11 years old.
Right.
I was fucking drinking like day and night because my dad was an alcoholic, you know?
Right. Yeah, that sucks. Um, okay, so you had your first kid at 23, you said, right?
No, 21.
21.
My
Okay.
daughter, yeah.
Now, what happens there? You meet baby daddy. Tell me how that happened.
Well, pretty much my parents, when I came back from Mexico, they were like, it's not godly of you to be with the women. So pretty much they introduced me to him, which he was my sister's best friend at the time.
Mhm.
And I was all like, well, let me try it, you know? And yeah, I ended up losing my virginity. I ended up hooking up with him. I ended up being with the guy. And I was all like, all right, this is where I'm going to be at, you know? I mean, the first year or two were cool because I was still finding my way around, you know? And yeah, pretty much it went from there. As soon as he found out I was pregnant, that shit, tables turned. It went south.
What happened? What does that mean? Tables turn.
Tables turned pretty much because I was the only one working, because I was always very independent. I was the only one working. I was the only one paying rent. I was the only one buying food. You know, I was taking care of the house because, I mean, he was 2 years younger than me. But yeah, I ended up taking care of everything. And I would tell him, like, you ain't fucking going anywhere. You're going to stay home and clean and fucking pick up after this and wash, you know, do laundry and stuff like that while I went off and party with my friends, took off with girls and shit, wouldn't come back for days. And yeah, so when he found out that I was sleeping around with girls and stuff like that, like, he wanted to get me pregnant so bad. And when he did, he was all like, all right, bitch, this is where you're at. This is where I got you.
Mm. Now, is this just how many baby daddies?
I have 3.
Okay, is this the one that went south with, or
Yeah.
so you want to elaborate on that? So you had one kid with him, right?
I have 2 kids with
You
him.
had 2 kids
I
with
have
him.
2 kids with him.
Okay.
I have my 19-year-old daughter
Okay.
and then my 16-year-old son.
Okay. And what happened with those kids and your first baby daddy?
Okay, so around the age of 24, 25, me and my sister got into an altercation, and the cops showed up, and
You guys were fighting or something?
yeah, we were fighting. Like, I busted her window because she hit me in the head with a Tabasco sauce. Like, we were getting into it.
Well, not tapatio.
The tapatio, there it goes,
Oh,
the
okay.
tapatio bottle, the big one too.
Tabasco, look
Fucking
at
busted
it,
my whole
Tabasco.
head. You know, and then I packed my kids in my car and I take off for a couple hours.
You were
and-
living with your sister or something?
Yeah, I was renting her garage.
Okay.
So I pack my kids up, my son and my daughter, and I take off for the day. And when I come back, all my shit's outside. My refrigerator is like literally cleared out. Like, they hosed it down and everything. Like, they took all my food, they took all my shit from the house. I was fucking flipping out because I couldn't find any of my daughter's clothes, and she's all like, they belong to my daughter. I was all like, you don't have no daughters.
Yeah.
You don't have nothing but kids. Like,
You're
my daughter
bullshitting.
was delusional. My sister was super fucking delusional that she had daughters and shit. And
Was she on drugs?
yeah,
Oh,
totally.
okay. She
And,
was
like,
sleeping.
yeah, she was tripping.
Yeah.
And so what had happened was they ended up calling the cops, and me and my sister fight again, but like this time we're getting into it. And my daughter ended up getting hit, and she was like, "Not my mommy," you know, trying to stop the fight, and pushed her out the way. My daughter fucking fell and hit her face on the slatch of the door, and it was all bad. It was all bad. So she calls the cops and was like, she doesn't live here, blah blah blah. So the cops came, took my kids, and then I didn't see my kids after that. I tried to fight for them, but I had relapsed again because they took my kids. I had relapsed again.
What'd you relapse on?
A meth.
Meth?
Yeah.
Is that your drug of choice?
No, my drug of choice is alcohol.
Alcohol.
Yeah, it's always been alcohol.
All right. So, what happened? Your daughter gets hit.
They end up taking the kids.
They end up taking the kids.
Yeah, they end up going with the dad, and me and the dad we're still talking and stuff like that. This is around like what 2010, 2009, 2010, and something really bad happens to me.
What?
I went to a friend's house because I thought I was fucking doing my thing, selling dope and all that bullshit.
You were selling dope?
Yeah,
you
I
were
was
selling
selling
dope for, well, probably
Yeah,
not. Probably
yeah,
shouldn't ask that.
yeah. For myself. And she ended up saying if I could get some GHB, which is the date rape drug, right?
Okay.
And I told her, yeah, why, what's up? So I took her some, and I left the water bottle on top of the counter while I went to the bathroom, and I ended up getting dosed.
She dosed you with her own shit?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I ended up getting dosed.
I don't mean to laugh, man.
Yeah, it's alright. It's my fault, you know.
So what happened?
So yeah, she was my so-called friend. Yeah.
So she doses you to what?
And then I guess some guys showed up and fucking I ended up getting raped.
Oh shit.
About 6 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant, but I thought it was my kid's dad, and I ended up having a little black girl.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I ended up having a little black girl, and pretty much, I kept the baby. I didn't know, you know.
What happened at the hospital? Was your baby daddy there at the hospital?
Yeah.
What happened at the hospital?
Yeah, he saw her and he was all like, "Fuck that! That ain't my kid."
No way.
Yeah, like he knew off the bat, and I was all like, "Yeah, she is. She's super white." Nope. My daughter was, well, she's gorgeous and everything, but yeah, she ended up getting her like.
Have I met that daughter?
I've shown you pictures.
No, but when you go do the job, was she there? Was she there?
No,
She not there?
I gave her up for adoption when I went to prison, so yeah.
No way.
Her and my other.
Is she with a good family?
She's with my family. She's with my family. She's with my
okay,
aunt, my
cool.
mom's
She's
cousin.
still in the mix.
Yeah, she's with my family and my mom's cousin.
Do you see her?
No,
No?
I don't. So my aunt ended up marrying.
Is it because
my aunt ended up marrying some black guy, and she never had kids of her own, so she trying to raise her as her own daughter.
Got it.
You know.
And how do you feel about that? Man, because that's a tough. Like I'm thinking about it right now. Like,
well,
dude,
the only
that's.
reason I gave it is because I was gonna do a life sentence, so
Right.
I didn't know that I was gonna come out after a couple of years.
But now you're out, and how do you feel about that? I'm thinking like in my aspect of it, like if I'm in your position and I get it, I'm facing life. I'm not facing it no more. I'm out now. I want my daughter back, but she is in the mix. She is with. I mean, I'm assuming your family.
No,
she's in a good
we
spot.
don't see her. Yeah, we don't see him. We don't see him at all.
Is it by choice or?
No, it's my aunt's choice.
So you guys aren't in like
No.
you seeing eye to eye right now?
No, we're not.
Okay, I get it now.
Yeah, we're not.
That sucks. Would you like to see eye to eye to see your daughter?
Like
Because I was thinking like
tried
maybe
reaching
you're
out.
just like, all right, she's in a good spot, she's in the mix, we're good, but we don't want to like make it traumatizing for her. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, we've tried reaching out, but my aunt's like, nah, I'm not gonna do it.
Really?
This is my kid.
Does she live around here?
She lives somewhere here in Lancaster.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I could probably be.
Have
her
you
neighbor
ever
if I
like
had-
ran into like your aunt or seen like one in that side?
The last time I ran into her was in 2018, and my daughters are like, "Mommy, mommy, mommy," and she's hugging me and.
Oh, so she knows. She knows.
She knows I'm her mom.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
she knows I'm
okay.
her mom. I had her till she was like 5 years old.
And how old is she now?
She's 13
She's 13. And last time you saw her was
when she was 5.
when she was 5. That's when she's
Yeah.
like, mommy, mommy.
Yeah. And
That's
at that
crazy.
time, I already had another daughter.
You have pictures of her now, like of what she looks like now? Or no?
No, I don't.
So you have no idea what she looks like? Man, I don't know, man.
No, I wouldn't know. I wish I did.
Okay, so I don't want, we went forward. Because now we're talking life sentence, right? So we don't want to miss that.
Well, I've been clean since 2009, off drugs and everything.
Okay,
and-
so hold on. So your daughter, okay, where were we? Okay, so you went through what you went through. What happened with that chick that did that to you?
What chick?
The one that they raped you.
Oh, she went crazy, and the last time I saw her was at the subway station in LA. I saw her.
Long time ago or is recent?
No, a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
A long time ago because that baby was born in 2010. I think I saw her like 2011.
Right.
Or the end of 2010. Yeah.
What happened? Do you know who that guy was who did this to you?
Yeah.
The black dude?
Yeah.
Like you know him previously, or you know him now because of the situation?
No,
you knew who he was?
I knew him I saw him once or twice in high school, but
Oh, you went to high school with him?
yeah.
Oh shit.
But I guess he was fresh out of prison. He was fresh out of prison for raping a 15-year-old.
What?
Yeah, for raping a 15-year-old, and yeah, it was just.
And
bad.
this is like your homegirl or something, like.
There were neighbors. Yeah, we lived in the same apartment complex.
What?
Yeah, and I hadn't seen him prior to that day. Like
That's
I hadn't
crazy.
talked to him
Until
or anything.
in, like high school or something.
No,
like
I hadn't seen him prior from that day.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, after.
Yeah. After high school is when he got busted. He got in trouble, you know. And
right.
after that, like I hadn't seen him.
So, that's a dead issue with him after your son. You
Yeah.
guys split.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So then all you had was your son at the time.
Yeah, I
You-
had
you
my
had-
son and my daughter. Yeah, so.
So what happened? So now you have two kids. Baby daddy's out the way.
Well, he practically ended up leaving me for dead. He stabbed me. He stabbed me under my what's this called? The heart, whatever, down here. He stabbed me there. He stabbed me in my arms. He stabbed me in my head.
For what?
As I'm bleeding out. He emptied out the house and left me for dead with my two kids.
Is he from San Francisco?
No, he's a paisa.
You a paisa?
Mhm.
Damn, crazy ass paisa.
Yeah.
What did he stab you for?
He said that I was cheating on him, but
He was on one.
he had, yeah, he was super on one. He had, but the thing was that he had all my windows barred, and
Oh, he was really on.
the door was padlocked. Like when he would go to work, he would padlock the whole house. Like I couldn't go anywhere. And because
With
there
your
was,
kids,
yeah,
even, too.
there was like no handles, and sometimes I would run out of food. Mind you, my daughter's 2 years old, and I'm breastfeeding a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old. Yeah.
That's crazy. So, okay. He does that to you. You guys split up, right?
Yeah. Right after that, yeah.
What happens after?
We thought that we could work things out because I didn't know what to do. I didn't have nowhere to go. I didn't have know what to do because my family was just like, we're totally over it. Like we're over helping you. We're over trying to be in your life because you keep going back to this man, whatever. So I ended up getting my place, and me and him, we were still hooking up, and that's when I ended up finding out about my daughter when all that shit happened. Anyways.
What do you mean you found out about your daughter?
Well, no, with in 2010, what happened with the rape and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. All right. So then, what happens after you have more kids, or you go, or the prison thing happens?
No. The prison thing happens.
Okay. So what happens to that? What's that next?
So I lived in my apartment for about 5 years, I want to say.
Okay.
And no, about 3 years. I end up kicking it with the neighborhood again. The neighborhood's chilling, coming over. I ended up getting involved with this guy from the neighborhood, and it was just bad. It was bad from day one, you know? He was fucking crazy. He was delusional. He was like, why didn't you wait for me when I was in jail? I was like, I just met you, you know? Like, shit like that. Like,
Yeah.
and then I would have all the homies come over. Cops were coming to my house. Fucking guns were going off in my house. Like just stupid shit, random shit. Like people were getting jumped in my house to get in the neighborhood, and I thought it was okay. And I ended up catching this case because of this guy. So I was coming home from school because I went back to school at one point.
Okay.
And I was coming home from school, and it was already, and let me go back. I ended up catching a DCFS case because there was too many guys in my house and I was getting my ass whooped, and they ended up taking my daughter, my little black girl. They ended up taking her. Her name is Gianna, by the way.
That's a big thing.
She ends up getting taken, and I leave her with one of my really close family friends, and she ends up dying. The lady ends up dying, and they found my daughter walking down the street. So
What?
yeah, so DCFS got involved, and I had got pregnant again, and I ended up having a little girl. and
with
my baby daddy,
uh-huh.
with another guy, and this guy's from Pacoima, from the whole other side of the block, and it, he ends up catching a life sentence, so he can't do nothing about it. And then I end up getting in trouble because I had all the guys at the house, and I ended up fighting this girl because she was all like, "Oh, I know you, you're Mona, da 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 da," and she swung, so I swung back, um, and I ended up catching a charge for attempted murder.
With the girl?
Yeah.
For fighting?
Yeah. Yeah.
What'd you swing with?
With my hands.
What?
Yeah.
And they try to give you life for that?
Yeah, I broke her cornea, her eye socket, her nose, and I busted a couple of her ribs because when she was on the floor, I just couldn't stop. I blacked out from hitting her because I was still drinking.
Wow.
You know, and yeah, I pretty much blacked out. So when I went to jail, they were like, "Do you remember doing this?" I was like, "Nah, you know, I don't." So pretty much they said they were gonna give me 12 years. So I grabbed my kids and I ended up putting them for adoption. And that's when my aunt came through and she took them in.
What about your son?
My son and my daughter weren't in my custody anymore.
No, what happened to your son? Where's he?
My son?
Yeah.
Well, at this time, I had already cut the case with the DCSF, and they ended up taking the kids, and they ended up going to their dad's custody. So
and then from there it went to adoption.
Who? My little girls?
No. You
No.
had a boy and
my son and my daughter were already living with their dad.
Okay.
Yeah, my son and my oldest were already living with their dad. Yeah.
And then from there, that's where she went to adoption?
Yeah, they had already been living with their dad since like 2008. Yeah, it was like 2008. They ended up living with their dad.
Okay. So you catch this case. How long did you end up doing on the case?
3 years in prison and in jail.
Okay.
And they gave me 4 years
Joint
suspension, you know, monthly check-in, P-test, everything.
Right. Okay. So you get out. What's next for Mona?
I end up going to this place called Hope Gardens.
Okay.
It's a domestic violence shelter for women.
Okay.
And I ended up going there, and the craziest shit happened to me at that place. Do you remember the Sayer fires? There was a bunch of fires in Sylmar.
Okay.
So where the mountains.
Yeah. Even
so,
like the zoo got caught on fire right there or something like that.
Yeah.
There's like a zoo in somewhere. I remember that.
Okay, so I ended up going there because I had got out this place, and me and one of my best friends ended up hooking up. I ended up getting pregnant again. By this time, this is my 5th child.
Now you're on 5th baby. You hooked up with your best friend.
Yeah.
What happens there?
So, anyways, the fires happened. I ended up rescuing a bunch of girls. I'm on the rescue mission portal that I GTA'd a bus with like a bunch of people in there.
No way.
Yeah.
How did that work?
Big ass school
Explain
bus.
that.
So, so the fire starting, right, and somebody knocking on my door, but mind you, the kids are fucking playing ding dong ditch, and I'm thinking like, these fucking kids are fucking still up, you know? So somebody's like pounding on my door, and they're like, run, get whatever you can, take off. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I look outside and everything's on fucking fire. So I'm trying to grab a diaper bag at least, or a bottle, because my daughter's really little. She's like 3 months, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
She's super little, and I don't know what to do. So I put my baby in the stroller, and I'm trying to run out with the stroller, but I was like, why the fuck do I need a stroller, right? So I end up looking at a stroller, and my daughter's gone. Somebody snatched her up on their way down. So I'm running downstairs, and all I see is smoke and what are those things called? The ashes, the embers. The embers are everywhere. Fucking, I'm burning myself with the embers from the trees, and I get to the front office and I hear my baby crying. I'm like, where is she? Where's my baby? Some girls are like, I had to snatch her up. There was too much smoke by your room.
Right.
And I was all like, thank you. And then she's all like, but she can't stop crying. So I'm checking her, like, what's going on? Because if I got burned from the embers, she probably got burned from the embers. So my daughter had like a burn right here from the embers on her chest, and she's really little, you know? So the bus comes from down the hill, a big ass, you know, the long school buses. So it comes down the hill, and I see and people are like, get on the bus, get on the bus. The driver's telling them, get on the bus, get on the bus. So we're all getting on the bus, and he hops out and hops into another car. And I'm like, what the fuck? All you hear is babies crying and moms screaming and praying and all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? So I fucking hop on the wheel. I was like, I've been in GTAs before. Like, I'm taking off right now. So I grabbed the bag that I had with me and I put it on my back, right? And
so you can sit up?
the gate thingies. I fucking went through the gate thingies and
You've
all
never
the.
driven a bus before.
I've never driven a bus before. I drive a little ass Chevy Cruze, so.
Look, you're on camera doing it?
Yeah, they have on their website, like, oh, shortest person who ever stole a bus from us, you know, whatever. So I get down the hill and I see fire departments and I was like, I'm getting back on this fucking bus and going for the back of the rest of the people. And they were like, nah, we got it from here. So one of the fire guys hops on the bus and goes back up. And my mom's down the hill and she's crying and she's all like, are you okay? How's the baby? Are you fine? And I'm like, I'm just freaking out. So we go to my mom's house and the baby's got burns, taking care of the baby. The next day they call us and they're like, oh, we got control of the fires, but you guys can't come back for like 3 or 4 days. So we're like, fuck. So we go back to the URM and I ended up working for them for a while, for Hope Gardens and the URM, because they helped me with my license, well, with my certificates and stuff like that. Like, they helped me pay for my culinary school and all that stuff.
Oh, that's right. So you used to work at Le Pan.
Le Pan,
Gabby or Adriana's my wife, Gabby's my sister, they both worked at Le Pan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
you guys are watching, she was like the main chef there and all this.
At Toluca Lake.
That's right, I forgot.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, at the Toluca Lake one. They were at the Ventura one.
Yeah, at the Toluca Lake
I see
one.
nothing but like celebrities and all
Yeah,
kinds
so
of
did
stuff
we.
there. Yeah.
We were right across the street from the Burbank,
I believe Megan.
Warner Brothers and stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know where.
Yeah.
Like Hollywood Way, no?
Yeah,
Something like that, yeah.
We were down the street, yeah.
Okay, so after Hope Gardens, after the fire, where does it start getting like really crazy? 'Cause I know you.
So
we've talked right now, and honestly, I didn't know none of this stuff. All I know is like the crazy stuff.
So for 10 years, I fought for my kids. Like, I never stopped fighting for them. I kept putting requests for the courts not to close, for the requests not to close, because I already knew that there was something going on between my, like,
who?
With my kids, my two oldest.
Right, but who?
They're with their dad. So
which one?
The first one. So
the first one you.
My first baby daddy, the one I was with for like 10 years.
Okay.
So my daughter turns 12 years old, and I get a phone call from DCFS, and they're like, we're trying to see if you could get your daughter back, blah, blah, blah. And I was all like, what do you mean? They were like, yeah, her dad broke her nose. And I was like, fuck, like, this shit's gonna happen again. While I was in a relationship with him, he was very abusive, very controlling, very, if it's not my way, it's the highway, you know? So he, like they say, even if you're in a relationship, if you don't want it, you don't want it. You know, there was a lot of rape involved. There was a lot of beatings involved. He was the one that stabbed me. He would lock me up. There was a point where he had me tied up for 2 weeks around my ankle. And he ended up fucking not feeding me, not letting me shower. I was ass naked. He would grab the 5-gallon water bottles and throw it on top of me. Like, bitch, you're dirty. Wash yourself with this. Like, he was very abusive to me.
This is the Python, right?
Yeah.
That's a crazy ass Python.
So one day we're tussling, we're fighting and stuff like that, and he ends up dropping the keys, and he's fucking drunk, but he's also high at the same time. So I sit on the keys and I just take the ass whooping like there was no tomorrow. He falls asleep. I unlock myself, and on my way out, I grab the Louisville Slugger and I'm fucking him up. Call his family, and I was like, somebody beat up your son, you know. I ended up catching time for that one too. But anyways, he beat the shit out of my daughter, and he tried to throw her inside the washing machine.
What?
You know, yeah, like he tried to stuff her down the washing machine, and a bunch of shit happened.
Like for what? Like as a punishment?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So he had locks.
Where is this for?
He had locks on the refrigerator. He literally had my kids living in a in a pantry with a bunk bed and stuff like that.
Like a walk-in pantry.
Yeah, like a walk-in
That's
pantry
crazy.
with beds, you know, and they were leaving with chickens and shit. Like he was hatching chickens in there and stuff.
On top of the kids being there too?
Yeah, on top of the kids being there, that the room was
Wow.
all fucking dirty, like it was fucked up, you know? So I couldn't get him back because I didn't have nowhere to take him, but I was doing that program at Hope Gardens and stuff. And then my daughters were like, I can't leave my brother. But she didn't want to tell me what was going on. She's like, I just can't leave my brother. I can't leave my brother.
Yeah.
But I knew something was wrong. So when they turned 15 and I was working at Le Pan, because I was at Le Pan for like a year and a half, 2 years, I think.
No, call it what you call it. Call it correctly.
Yeah.
Le Pan
Le Pan quotidien.
Damn.
So I was working there and I called my kids. I received a phone call from my daughter. She's 15 and she's all like, "Hey, mom, can we see you?" And I said, "I'm at work. You want to come over?" And they were like, "Where are you at?" So they end up showing up at Toluca Lake, and I end up feeding my kids. And their dad comes out the car, and he's all like, "What's up?" He's all trying to have a conversation with me as civil adults, you know, as civil parents, because he wants to start co-parenting because he says that the kids are just being bad. But he's fucking nuts. Like, he's been nuts his whole life, you know? And as I'm driving back home, my daughter's in the car and she's super quiet. And I was like, "Why are you quiet? Why do you want to talk to me?" She's all like, "Oh, I don't have nothing to say, da 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 da." But she's chewing on her fingers and I know that she has anxiety. So I start noticing a couple things here and there. And then I end up taking my kids to Dave and Buster's Northridge one day. And he hops out the car and he calls his ex-girlfriend and she's all like, "She just kidnapped my kids." So I'm getting a fucking phone call from the ex-baby mama. "Oh, you have the kids, take the kids back." And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? He said that he'd rather be without the kids. And then that happens. So one day I show up from Le Pan and I'm bringing them, you know how you can get lunch and dinner and stuff like that with them. So I'm bringing them lunch and dinner and I get my 20% off, 30% off, whatever they gave us. And I was taking them food. And he gets a dog on me. I got bit by a canine. He threw the canine on me, bit me right here in the stomach, bit me right here in the arm.
What do you mean threw it on you? What does that
Yeah,
mean?
he like sicked the dog on me.
What?
And I didn't even know what the fuck was going on. He sicked the dog on me.
I don't
And
mean to laugh. It's just
no,
a
it's
crazy
alright.
ass
It's alright.
story.
Dog on me, and he was all like, "Don't come back here. You're trying to
That's
take my
crazy.
kids." I was all like, "What the fuck? Like, you're tripping." And then there was a flag across the street from his house with the Californian bear on there. He's all like, "That's me. I'm the bear." Da, da, da. I was all
Oh,
like,
yeah,
"Oh
he's
yeah,
tripping
you're
balls.
fucking tripping." I will come back. Like, I got my shit together. I have a baby at home that I gotta take care of.
Yeah.
So that happens, and then I end up moving to a bigger place because I was all like, I need more space for me and my daughter.
Yeah.
So I end up moving to a bigger place, and shit hits the fan. Like a year later, after I'm moving into this place, shit hits the fan. I get a phone call from the grandma, and she's all like, "You need to come get your kids. Fucking some crazy shit's happening here at my house, and you need to come pick up your kids." Because my son doesn't want nothing to do with them. He's turning off the electricity. He's turning off the water. He doesn't let the kids come in the house. He's not feeding them. They're running amok in the street. Sometimes they're sleeping on trees, eating grass. Like, I was tripping. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? You could have called me sooner. Why are you taking so long? You know? I was all like, I never stopped fighting for my kids, so why would you not call me?
Right.
And then she's all like, well, I needed to find an opportunity where he wasn't home for you to take the kids.
Wow.
So what I hadn't known was that, I guess from the age of 11 to the age of 17, he was molesting my daughter. He was raping her. Like, it was like full-blown rape. He was doing it 4 or 5 times a day. He was beating the shit out of my son. He was, that's why he wasn't feeding him. I guess at one point my daughter ended up having a miscarriage because he was beating the fuck out of her. And I always asked her, like, whose was it? She just never wanted to say, like, my dad's or shit like that. You know, she
And how old
just,
is she when she had the miscarriage?
probably like 14.
Wow. Wow, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like so much shit has happened to them, you know, and yeah, pretty much. I told my daughter and I told my son, like, you guys will never have to live that way again, you know? You guys will never have to live that way again. As long as I'm here for you guys, like, you guys will never have to live that way. Like, I'm gonna be here to protect you. But the minute that I found out about what was going on with my daughter, I ended up relapsing. I ended up drinking. I think I drank for a whole year straight.
Man,
You know,
I don't blame you. Like,
I just didn't want to deal with it. It was like
as
too
far as me
heartbreaking.
being an addict and everything, like, dude, yeah. I mean, besides putting a bullet in his head, how else do you deal? I mean, of course, now we know how to deal with it, right? But yeah, man, that's the craziest
Well,
thing ever, dude.
yeah.
That's insane shit. A miscarriage, bro. That shit is nuts.
Yeah, a lot of shit happened. You know, my son and my daughter were super, super skinny when they showed up to my house, and they were kind of short. Where for me, they were short. My son was like 5'7" when he came to my house, and he was skinny, and he was like 110, 115 pounds. And my daughter too, she was super skinny, and she's like 5'6" herself, you know. And
what happened to this dude?
He ended up getting caught barely this year in March because I guess he beat the shit out of his girlfriend and she called the cops on him. So the cops showed up at the house. We had made the report about a year and a half ago. And just this year, he ended up getting caught because he slipped. Because every time I would call the detectives, I would be like, well, can't you arrest him? There's enough evidence. Like, my daughter's willing to testify. My son's willing to testify. Like, they fucking hate him. They hate him so much. My son ended up changing his name, his last name, everything. He's all like, I don't want nothing to do with it.
Is this the son, the big one that you showed in video that he be knocking?
Yeah, he be
out?
knocking.
He told me some video of his son. This motherfucker's huge, right?
Yeah.
He's a big kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's got a lot of anger.
Yeah, he's got a lot of anger.
Yeah.
That day, that video, there's 7 different kids, and he's like.
That's what it was.
down.
He fought 7 people that day.
Yeah, he said 7 kids down. Yeah.
That's crazy, bro. Man, So he got caught. He's locked up. Mona, how's life right now?
Fuck.
Like literally, how's life today?
It's fucked up still. I have a lot of issues going on. So I want to say about 2 weeks ago, I found out that my house is you can't live in it.
Right. Why is that?
So my landlord painted this perfect picture before we moved in, and he kind of fucking lied to us. Pretty much, he just covered up whatever he could and tried to make things work, and he fucked it up more than he was. There's black mold in my house. There's lead paint. There was a gas leak. I have no heat in my house. They turned off my gas.
You said you brought the gas company to check it out.
I brought the gas company in.
They confirmed it.
Yeah, I brought Section 8 in.
They red tagged it.
They red tagged my house. There's a leak in my backyard where all the moisture is going into my room, and my carpet's fucking wet. My carpet's wet. And when I told my landlord about this, and I told him about the electricity and stuff going in and out, he's all like, well, can you get somebody to come fix it? I was all like, why? Isn't this your house? Don't we pay you every month?
Right.
You know, and he's all like, but I live too far, and you're closer. And if you need to get it done today, you have to do it yourself.
Right.
Like, he pretty much left everything on top of me. Mind you, he took me for like $10,000 when I first moved in. Because he let me move in 2 days early. He asked me for $2,500 to move in. You know?
That's crazy. So when do you need to be out by?
I put in for 90 days, but I need to move out within 30 days. And it's just been hard because during the day, I'm taking my kids back to the house to pack and put things away and get rid of things and throw things away because pretty much there's a lot of damage.
Right.
And then at night, we'll go to a motel or whatever I can afford, or I'll call a friend, like, can we stay here because my house is way too cold and the floors are wet. And pretty much we're fending for ourselves because I'm not working right now. I'm not doing anything because I have to come to this program. So how I ended up in this program, my son was really, really mad one day because we had to go to see the detectives. And they had to talk about what was going on with their dad. And he caught an attitude with me, and I said, you know what, I'm taking your Xbox. So I tried to snatch his Xbox, and he ended up hitting me. He ended up fucking me up. He busted my ribs, busted my arm, and during the tussle, I hit him back. So him and my daughter ended up calling TCFS, and I ended up here in Tarzana.
Wow, that's fucking nuts, man. This Mona here is no way, shape, or form how Mona really is. Mona is not like this. This is just a serious talk. I mean, she shares this, bits and pieces a lot in group, but she shares it in like what would you say, like not a funny way. I don't want to say funny way, but she's more uppity about it. Like she's not telling a story. She's more like it's just been so apparent in her life so much that it just comes out like nothing. But man, that sucks that it has to come out like that, like nothing, because you're dealing with this, it seems to me like on your own. And it sucks, man. Especially, let's talk about what's happening now to you, that you need to be out and stuff like that. I mean, I'm definitely gonna help you. You know that.
Yeah, for sure.
But I also, if anyone is watching and can help her out finding a place, whatever. There's no oh well, I need a 3-4 bedroom. Section 8, right?
Section 8, but I have almost a $4,000 voucher. It goes for a 5 bedroom.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, preferably up here, obviously, right?
Yeah, Lancaster, Palmdale.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of people that watch are from down there. But if anybody is watching from Palmdale, Lancaster area, man, if you guys have a house you can rent, she does have a $4,000 voucher. That's how it works, right? Or if you guys can help in any way, man, her situation, that'll be awesome. Hit me up, or okay. So let's give our ads, so where they can find you, or do you want to give your ad?
My at what?
Your IG. Your
Oh
Instagram.
yeah, you can do my Instagram.
You want to say it?
It's Medusa_toxic_82. Or you can
Just hit me up, man. Well,
yeah.
Medusa,
Yeah.
toxic. I'm a bad bitch. And then, crazy story, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing like that and being vulnerable. I'm pretty sure you've touched a lot of people that are gonna be watching this. Pretty sure I'm gonna hit up a lot about your story and man, but man, Mona, thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you doing this, getting vulnerable and stuff, man. Honestly, I knew half of this story. I didn't know the whole other half. And like I said, I am going to help you out. And if anybody watching can help her out too, man, that'd be great. Alonzo Junk Movers, at Alonzo Junk Movers on YouTube, on Instagram, on Yelp now. TikTok, I think today is going up. Toxic, #1, La Chica.